we are moving in the right direction. And clearly the UK recognises the importance of China, not just as economic circumstances, where it's growing second biggest economy in the world, but it's also developing its financial markets, and the UK wants to take advantage of that for both sides. So we are moving in the right direction, but it's pretty slow and gradual process.
Now let's also talk Brexit, something obviously that's casting a shadow at the moment as the negotiations are still ongoing. Now the Brexit tie-up does seem to be stalling the Hong Kong-London connect. What do we know about that so far?
Yeah, the problem is that the Europeans seem to be dragging their feet. They don't seem to have any incentive to accelerate the process, to help the UK in their cause to connect London and Hong Kong. And until the Brexit negotiations are out of the way, they don't want to change the regulatory structure because obviously once the UK leaves Brexit, then it'll just be one regulator. At the moment, there's two regulators, and the Europeans are of the viewpoint that why should they be helping the UK if they're going to leave the EU inevitably. So that clearly is not helping the process and delaying the whole thing.
Now, turning to the proposed Shanghai-London Stock Connect, what sort of progress are we seeing there, and what could some potential sticking points be?
Well, again, Brexit has played a part as well, but also there have been technical issues. For example, language differences. There are also different time zones, which have caused a few hurdles to the project. But we had a speech by Mr. Hammond at the end of last year, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, signalling that they want to accelerate the process. And the hope is that by the time that Brexit's finished, in theory by March 2019, we should have an agreement in principle. But again, whether they get to those timelines is debatable. But it looks as though some of the teething problems are being overcome, and we're moving in the right direction. So that's encouraging.
Now let's talk the benefits of this relationship. In terms of the expertise and know-how that China can learn from London with its role as a global financial hub, what does each side gain from having closer financial cooperation?
Well, I mean, the UK itself is a premier financial centre, capital markets, foreign exchange, etc. On top of that, we've seen a lot of listings, which is a reflection of how liquid and how deep the markets are in the UK. For example, with Saudi Aramco. On the other hand, China's got a very fast developing fintech community, lots of well-known companies, and they've seen significant growth in the last few years. So the UK wants to take advantage of that, and China wants to take advantage of having listings in the UK so that UK investors have the opportunity to buy China-based shares as well. So it works at both ends, and it will help liquidity for China, to help its position in financial markets as they open up their own market, and it broadens the sphere and expertise that not just the UK could bring to China, but China could bring to the UK as well.
And as China shifts to a more consumption-led economy, that also means the need for more upgraded financial services that come with us. So let's talk about fintech and the sort of opportunities that could bring.
Yes, I mean, in the UK, you've already got some of the big companies have already set up here, like Google's got some major headquarters in London, so that's brought a lot of technical know-how and knowledge with it. And the UK has also got regulatory authorities in place. We've got the legal practices in place, and that will clearly be an attractive thing for China when it decides to move in that direction as well. So the UK is already established, but the pace of speed in China is quite remarkable. And the UK would also benefit from building up relationships with fintech companies in China as well. So it works both ways. And clearly, fintech is growing very rapidly, and that will continue as technology changes rapidly. For example, in blockchain.
And as you mentioned blockchain, and you also have the Stock Connect programs, as we look ahead, what do you think is really going to dominate the China-UK relationship when it comes to financial cooperation?
Well, I think China is slowly but surely liberalising its financial markets. We've seen that in the foreign exchange markets, the way that the renminbi, the fixed rate was removed, and it's now within a certain trading band. And they want to create the conditions where they can give more access to Chinese financial products in London, for example, through listings or foreign exchange trading platforms. So China's dictating the terms of these things in terms of the speed, but they are slowly but surely increasing their financial liberalisation, and London will be a clear beneficiary of that in a rapidly changing technological environment.